schedule of today, right?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Good morning, introduction.
What's up?
Yeah. I'm gonna have the schedule up then.
Are we ready?
Yeah.
Good morning, FS Check. We are starting our live stream today on Wednesday for our driverless autocross morning. My name is Lasse. Good morning. With me is Ruben.
Good morning.
So, what's the plan for today, Ruben?
Oh, we're really excited. We're starting with the DV Autocross. Otherwise, we have skid pad and acceleration later in the day, manual. So we've already seen some teams on the test track. We've seen AMZ looking really strong, and now they're rolling out towards the track. So they're already at the track. We're excited to watch them.
Yeah, we can now see the two teams who are at the driverless autocross preparing their teams. Karlsruhe E76 and E33 from Zurich. They are getting their cars ready. I see there are some visual checks already being done by the officials. And also, I would assume the team members are preparing their cars for their driverless run. So the task for the teams now, or for the cars more specifically now, will be to drive one lap on the unknown autocross track. So the car needs to find the track itself, it needs to navigate it, it needs to find out how fast it can go, and then it needs to go fast to get good points.
Completely correct.
And then we're
So
excited to have the two teams here. The morning was a bit boring so far. We didn't have that many cars here, but now the action is ramping up with the two teams, two good contenders for the driverless disciplines. Generally, these two.
Not a lot of teams have passed EBS yet, so we had 4 ones yesterday, I think, for skid pad.
Four teams are able to drive driverless now and have passed all the scrutineerings that they need to pass for that.
Yes.
And half of them are seeing on stream right now in preparation for the autocross. I hope we will see the other two coming up as well soon, so that we have...
there will be some on-track action today.
Yes,
hopefully.
we're excited for some on-track action.
So far, the teams have been doing statics, we've had business plans, we've had cost, and today they're going to be doing engineering design as well. So an exciting day and a very stressful day, theoretically. And a little bit about the two teams we have here. Really strong contenders, first and second place overall at FSG last year. So it'll be really exciting to see what they can achieve this year at FS Czech, running their second competition of the season, both of them, after having ran FS Swiss just last week.
And they also scored well in FS Czech last year. AMZ went for the second place in the manual mode in EV last year, and KA-RaceIng was coming in third overall for the DV category last year. So I hope they have a lot in storage for us today. And they already had something to show yesterday on the acceleration and skid pad for the driverless. For example, I see from KA-RaceIng, we have one acceleration time with 3.48 seconds, which is
Oh, wow.
quite impressive. Not the fastest time yesterday, I have to say.
Really? What was the fastest?
That's the fastest time is actually set by the other car that we have here on the stream, by AMZ. 3.34 seconds. That is really fast.
Really, really good.
It will be interesting in the afternoon also to compare it with the manual acceleration. I would expect typically the manual acceleration to be slightly faster at the top times, because the cars have to move one driver more, depending on the driver's weight. This will add almost a third of the weight additionally on the car. So you will see that in the acceleration values.
Yes. Now I know as well from last year.
Quick sound check, guys. Can you still hear us?
Yes, yeah.
All right, then we're about halfway to the starting line of the Driverless Autocross. We'll continue down this way and see if the mics work.
So let's hope the mics work, and then we will get some reporting from the track itself, which should be very exciting. Additionally to the drone footage that we see so far of the preparations from those two teams.
I think the camera footage is going to be really good this year. So let's wait and see. But otherwise as well, KA-RaceIng did really well last year for Autocross as well, which is also why I'm excited, not just overall, but Autocross specifically was one of their really, really strong suits.
Yeah, and let's see what kind of lap times we get this time for the driverless Autocross. Last year, KA set the best time with 24.95 seconds. I believe it will be a similar track this year.
What was their last year's time again?
24.95 seconds was the fastest lap from Karlsruhe, with the runner-up of Revolve with 4.84 seconds more. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
Revolve is not yet passing all the scrutineerings. If they hurry up, I think they might have the chance to still run in this session, but I would say it will need to go very smoothly for them. But fingers crossed, I would love to see some more cars on track.
They need to get their braking really, really quickly if they were going to make it.
Because we have almost exactly 2 hours left in the session. That's
here they have the acceleration times, as you described, with TUfast coming in really strong as well at 337. Only, if I'm reading that correctly, that's only 0.03 behind.
yes, TUfast was also very fast yesterday.
Yeah, they were almost. No, I'm not going to say too fast. Yes, they were almost too fast.
I was just trying to see if we can see them on the test track somewhere. I was wondering where TUfast is. I would like to see them for the Autocross as well. It would be good to have all the 4 teams which have already passed all the scrutineerings up for the stream. But speaking of scrutineerings, let's quickly walk through what the teams have gone through so far on the technical side in order to be able to drive on the track here. So they need to make sure that the cars are completely rule compliant in many different ways. So there are different scrutineering sessions where they check the accumulator for its rule compliance, which is quite a complex and important part of the car. Also, the electrical systems are checked for rule compliance. The mechanical parts of the cars also need to be checked. And for the driverless cars, also the driverless functionality needs, of course, to be safe and compliant to the rules in order for the cars to drive here. And in addition to that, of course, there is the brake test and the EBS test. It is, especially for the driverless cars, really important that they are able to stop when needed, because driverless cars are notoriously fun, and they can have interesting ideas where to go on track when they are in the right mood for it. So oftentimes everything runs smoothly and we see impressive technology being executed there, but sometimes the cars decide to revert off the track, and then they need to be stopped, and that's what the emergency brake systems is for in those cars, and this is also checked before the car is allowed to run.
We now see KA-RaceIng rolling up to prepare for their first Autocross run. This will be really exciting to watch.
And apart from the action on track we just saw on the technical inspection status, some exciting updates. Previously we had only 4 cars that had passed all the scrutineerings for driverless driving, and now Revolve NTNU from Norway has joined the club. They have passed EBS test and the brake test, and now they are technically also ready to compete in the driverless autocross. Let's hope to see them soon. They are also a strong contender for good times on driverless. And now, as we speak of that, KA has prepared the car. We can see this yellow light at the back has lit up. This is the autonomous status indicator. And it indicates now that the car is ready to go autonomously. All the systems are armed and ready to go. As soon as the remote operator presses the start button, the car will drive autonomously around the track here. Let's hope it's going to be entertaining. You see everybody is now going to a safe distance from the car, because as I mentioned, sometimes the cars decide to have a will of their own, so it's better not to stand in their way. And yes, we hear the beeping sound of the car indicating to go, and there we go. Off. The first autocross run of the day is on, and it looks good. It looks quite fast from here. Car's going very smoothly. I thought
looks like
there
it's
was
taking
even
a really good line
some
as
dust
well.
behind the car. This seems to be quite a narrow part of the track, or very
and they
tight,
completed the
because
lap.
It came very slow. They come to a standstill. And they set at 22.77 seconds on the first lap.
Setting a
That's
very
great
high
work.
standard already.
Now the big question is always whether the car has come to a full stop properly and also recognized it has finished the discipline. It's hard to see from here on the stream. You would also see it on the autonomous system status indicators. So now they are flashing blue, but this is also to be expected, because after the car is standing, the remote operator will press its shutdown button to make sure that the car stays put and doesn't go anywhere anymore, so that the team can retrieve it. So from here, everything looks good. It looks like a valid run.
It looks really smooth. The car took very nice lines. I'll be excited to see how E33 decides to challenge KA. Now the teams will have the option to take round number 2. Will you go into the scoring?
So,
How scoring works for this is the average if they go for the second one, right?
good question. So now the team is retrieving their car after the first run. They can opt to take the second run directly, at least if AMZ is not queuing as well, because if AMZ wants to go, this would be their first run, and first runs get priority over second runs. I guess we will see that in a few moments, which car is going to be on track next. And maybe cars will also opt to analyze the data first and see where they can improve, where they can improve the time even more.
There's a question of if the car went off course. From where we are standing, we didn't see any off-track action.
No, on the drone footage, how I saw it, I didn't see an off-track. Definitely the car was stopping on the track properly. So maybe there was something in between, maybe at the part where the car was going a bit slower. But still, so far as we can see, we didn't see any off-tracks. Go a bit closer to the microphone. Yes, more energy. In the background, we can actually see AMZ pushing to the track. So we will see the second run. Let's see if they can keep up with the 22.7 seconds of KA-RaceIng.
We saw them running on the test track earlier today, looking pretty strong. We did not see, I don't recall watching KA-RaceIng take the test track.
No, I think they went straight ahead to the Autocross,
A
which
bold,
speaks for their confidence in the car.
absolutely.
You also see the obligatory person with the laptop next to the driverless car. Almost always you see someone checking the live data, whether everything is working properly. And this is also the case here for AMZ, because they won't leave anything to chance. And also the officials, they don't leave anything to chance either. They're positioning the car really, really precisely right now. You can see the start line being 6 meters, or the positioning line, the staging line 6 meters in front of the start-finish line. And the car is pushed just so that the front of the car is over this line. And now we will see that the driverless driver is getting out of the car, because even though the car can drive driverless, when you're pushing it, you still need to have someone in the driver to steer.
Somebody said the car looks fast and better than F1.
We might be
Absolutely.
biased, but yes, definitely better for than
It's
F1.
completely unbiased. What do you mean? Oh,
Now we see some more preparations. All the tires are being cleaned, which is always a good sign. If the tires are clean and they need to be clean, then it seems that the team has trust in the autonomous system to push the car to its mechanical limits as well. And they want to have clean tires, nothing to stop the run. And now the autonomous system responsible with this remote control is preparing the car, turning on all the systems that need to go for the autonomous mode.
while you see the rest of the team taking their very safe distance away from the track and the car.
Yeah, but the faster the car goes, the faster it can go wrong if it goes wrong. So it's good to be at a safe distance and not be hit by any car going off track. But
Preferably not.
the Karlsruhe run was safe, and it seemed to go as planned. Let's hope that a AMZ run does the same, and let's compare the two track times in about 30 seconds, I would say. Also, the ASR and the official, they are going into their safe zone in the middle of the track, being a bit elevated so that the ASR has the best view and can immediately see when the car is going off track, when he needs to push the big red button to stop the car. But let's hope that he doesn't have to do that and the car finishes correctly after the finish line with a valid run.
We're now seeing the full track. We see a good mix of smaller, slower corners. So fast, and the
Off
car
we
is
go.
off.
That's a very confident start of the car, navigating the first corners very nicely. Seemed like a good line, judging by the drone shot. And also here, it's going fast, it's going smooth.
Looks really. There's
a nice
some more
dusty
dust.
patch,
Yeah,
yeah.
of course.
And now it needs to come to stop. Oh,
Oh,
a slight bit of wiggling here. I think one cone was knocked out by the car during the stopping.
but we see the time at 17:27.
That is significantly faster than KA. That is an impressive time. And for my judgment, I would say that this stop was a decent stop.
They seem to go quite far, but
They were also quite fast. So
Exactly.
you need
It's natural.
some space to brake. And they went, I think they went almost off track during the braking here.
it's a
But yeah, it
close
was
call.
a very,
but
very impressive run, I would say.
that was a fun one to watch.
Yeah, definitely. You could see all the other nice control systems. It's a very elaborate car, both mechanically and software-wise. And you can see that at work here on the track, going through all these corners, navigating them smoothly and really, really fast. This is such a time when it would be interesting to have a comparative set lap time by the driver to see if the driver is still a bit faster on this track or if the driverless is in front here. the Zurich guys, they have done some tests in the past, not on the competitions, but on their test track to see whether their autonomous car or the driver car is faster. And if I recall correctly, it was a very, very tight deal. It was a couple of years ago, so things might have even changed more towards the driverless side since then. But I think at that time they were roughly even.
It looks like the marshal noted 2 cones down or out at the end of the run. I will not say something for certain, but I saw him hold up 2 cones, 1 in each hand.
Yes, it definitely hit a few cones.
Absolutely, yes.
I surely saw one of the cones during the braking, and then I think also where the car came to a standstill, it also pushed one of the cones out. And each cone that you knock over or push out of its box will give you a time penalty that will be added to your time. So in the end, we'll have to compare not just the times which we see on screen right now, which don't include any penalties from the cones, but we will have to wait for the official timing and the official scoring to see who was faster after the penalties. But both were really, really impressive times. 17.27, it looked nicely fast, and KA-Racing 22.77 also looked really, really good.
I see John Reese most likely correcting me here.
Have you been spreading false information, my dear?
I have been spreading false information. Good job on calling me out. I am so sorry.
So now I will call you my personal AI.
I was looking at the electric cup. I was the overall scoring, not the driverless cup.
So now we see the post-inspections going on. After the cars have finished their runs, they need to be checked if they have been rule compliant throughout the run. So the officials will typically check a few safety critical systems which are really important to work all the time, and also a few things which are relevant for the specific discipline and performance-wise. Yeah, we can see one of the officials on the AMZ car going on the ground to see the ground clearance. It must be 30 millimeters everywhere, and you see this rod being pushed throughout under the car. If that goes through without scratching, then you're fine. If it hits the car, then maybe you're in trouble. This is quite a nerve-wracking moment for the team.
Checking the design space for the rear wing as well. Everything.
Yes. Because the aerodynamic devices, they give you a lot of power, especially if you're going this fast in the DV disciplines. So it's important that they stay within the rules and the boundaries which are set by the rules. Let's hope that everything looks good. But since they're going through their points quite fast, and I don't see any big discussions on the AMZ car, I think that should be all right. Looks good from here. And there's a bit more quiet on the Karlsruhe car. They also started this post-scrutiny ring a bit earlier, so they might already be done with it. Or they have some open points left to check. It's hard to say from here. And in the background, we also see the laptop guy analyzing the data from the run to see what went well, what didn't, what needs to be improved. Because both teams, they have their second run still open, and they have more than 1.5 hours still to put in their second time and hopefully improve. And also the other teams, they still have 1 hour and 40 minutes to set their autocross runs. I do see the Munich car here lining up for the test track, I think. So maybe they want to have a quick shakedown before they head on for the autocross and compete for the points. It's good to see them right here.
We've been seeing quite a few cars be testing manual driving. We've been missing a lot of the, I say a lot of the DV teams. There are so far 5 DV capable teams through scrutineering. We have yet to see anybody except for AMZ be testing their driverless on the test track. So I'll be excited to see who'll show up for the last hour and a half.
I think I know it's locked down, but I don't remember if I distinguished E and DV or if it is even a difference. How much is it going? 2 seconds?
We have these two. So down to 1. Yeah. 1.5 seconds ahead. Corrected. Unless KA took some comments, but I didn't see that.
I also didn't see anything. Yeah, ignition, of course. After that, I don't know. Basically the teams from which I know people. So which would be this Karlsruhe, Revolve, and Aachen.
You can speak. You can speak already because we have the paddock from the drone, so you can speak. The studio is.
Okay, great. Then, yeah, good morning from the paddock. I hope the signal is coming through.
Yeah, good morning, Jonas.
Yeah, we were sitting out on the main stage yesterday. Today we're out here in the paddock doing a few interviews. Škoda has been kind enough to be willing to talk to us. I have some personal questions as to what's going on here. This is Vlasta. I think you already saw him yesterday on stream if you were watching. My first question is why Škoda at FS Czech?
Well, it's quite a natural connection. Actually, Škoda is a proud supporter of all the Škoda teams. And we've been supporting them for many years. We are supporting the whole event. And to be fair, the reason is that Škoda student absolvents, let's say, they make the best employees. They know what cars are about. They always show the extra mile during their studies. And these are the people we would like to see in Škoda.
So it's good to know that you're really looking for all the qualities that that Formula student engineers basically learn as they are here at the competitions. What have you brought today to show them?
Yeah. Well, so probably you heard in the morning, starting this beautiful Škoda Fabia R2 in various versions. There is a gentleman directly from Škoda Motorsport. So if any of you would like to know more about it, any questions, he is the gentleman to speak to. And he's going to stay here with us for today and for tomorrow as well. So that's probably the main highlight for today.
So those are all the nerdy questions we can direct to him.
Yeah, and as you can see, they've started 2 hours ago, and there's still a lot of people asking questions.
That's always good to see. Of course, there are also other sponsor stands to check out, if you have the time. Of course, it's a busy day today. We have on-track action. We have engineering design going on in the pits. So if you can spare the time, have a look at what's going on here on the sponsor stands.
But not only for the Fabia.
Exactly.
There's a few more things. Our Škoda Enyaq. Let's have a look inside, shall we? So if you look around the bag, they are gentlemen making coffee. So this is Milan, and he's a professional. He is able to do how many coffees per day?
100, 800.
800 coffees a day, okay? So you only have to come here, scan the QR code, answer not simple questions, but 3 questions. If you get 3 out of 3 correct, coffee is yours or a drink from a fridge. It's not too hot today, but yeah.
You're aware what you just did to yourself, right? It's Formula students. You mentioned a number, that means you'll get checked up on that.
He can, stand up to his words, yes. So that's the coffee car. Then, what is also important, if you have time, we already mentioned it, we are playing this game. So basically there are 4 tasks to complete. We need teams of 4. You can have 3, 4, 5 teams out of 1 Formula student team. And you complete those 4 tasks. And on Friday night, we will reward the team with most points. We have 4 Škoda scooters ready, kick scooters. We have 4 sleeping bags and camping equipment for each of those team members.
So maybe that's good to replace something that broke along the way. Camping here can be quite rough. We've had a lot of winds in the leading up days.
Yeah. But it's always nice to see the teams that won in previous years still riding our Škoda kick scooters.
Good to see. Of course, little warning. Events, it's not seen so nicely to ride those in the paddock. Yeah. So just watch out for that.
Yeah, well, so that's our coffee car, and on the right side you get to see a few more cars. Of course, we brought some, of course, electric cars. We have 2 Octavias RS here for inspection if you wish to, and the fantastic Fabia 130 version, which is not just a name. Actually, this Fabia has been improved, and the engine offers now 130 kilowatts.
Okay, that's a little bit more than what most of the electric cars here are allowed to do. How have you perceived the event here so far? You've been in the paddock, you've seen all the mess going back and forth. It's of course organized chaos, it's intended this way. What's your feeling of the event so far?
Well, it's fantastic, and I noticed each year we get to be pushed to different grounds because the number of partners is growing, the number of students is growing, the number of paddocks is growing. 3 years ago we had the whole place here for us. Now it's all built up with paddocks. So we like that there are teams, and there is a great interest in Formula Student Czech.
So more teams, more better. You already mentioned you're supporting a lot of teams. Are you looking for supporting more teams going forward?
Well, it's kind of a question for my bosses.
Okay,
we'll
leave it at that.
They are coming tomorrow and the day after. So of course we introduce them to our Formula Notion, but Volkswagen concern, there are various brands sponsoring various teams. So let's stick to the Czech Republic for the moment.
It's a complicated question. All right. Do you have anything to mention? Anything to shout out? Anybody you want to say hi to?
Well, hi to the organizers. Definitely, I think they've done a great job. You said it's an organized chaos, but I think it's pretty well organized.
I would agree.
The food is fantastic every time, so there's something we are looking forward to. And yeah, well, enjoy the event, enjoy the weather, come along for a coffee or just to relax and sit down as our colleagues do, and you're more than welcome.
Thank you very much. This is also a little shout out. We'll be walking around here, the paddock some more. If you're a team, if you're a sponsor, and you have something to say, then we can do something similar maybe with you. We'll have a little conversation, and yeah, for now, back to the main stage.
Right. Thank you, guys.
And speaking of what's going on in the next days, so there will be a lot of action for the folks from Skoda to see, and a lot of track action as well. We will have the manual autocross coming up in the next days, and of course on Friday the big endurance event. Very much looking forward to this.
The big one where teams need to be driving 22 kilometers as fast as they can.
And they need to finish it. This is for the endurance, same as for the track drive, which will be on this afternoon. It's not just about being the fastest. In order to finish first, you first need to finish. So especially for endurance and track drive, this is quite a feat on its own to achieve, just to finish a proper run, because it's so complicated. It's so much on the car that needs to work properly and with full potential. So any car that finishes endurance is usually greeted by a huge applause from the team and maybe also other teams. And in driverless, even more so, every finished track drive lap, any finished track drive, any finished autocross gets cheered on by the other teams. And we see some more movement here on the track, while I believe AMZ and Karlsruhe are still back there at the autocross track, either being in the post-inspection still or preparing for the next runs. We have seen the car E63 from Revolve, Trondheim, push by the stage here, slowly making their way towards the autocross track. It's great to see them here. They passed through the scrutineerings today, and we're really excited for them to set a lap time. This is going to be interesting as well.
So we hope to see them in about 15, 20 minutes on track. Meanwhile, we've received some weather forecasts for the rest of the day. There will be some increasing winds after 11 to 4 to 5 meters per second. Gusts all the way up to 15 meters per second in the afternoon. So we'll see how teams will choose to greet that when it comes to skid pad times.
Yeah, if you have that sort of wind, it might actually influence the skid pad. It might also influence the acceleration, depending on from where the wind is coming. If it comes from behind, it pushes you a bit. So that's maybe nice. If it comes from the front, it will give you slightly more downforce from the aerodynamics at this slower speed. So maybe it will help you to get off the line at a faster speed, faster acceleration. Interesting question, as usual in Formula Student. There's not always a simple answer. You need to run the numbers to see what's actually preferred. I wouldn't know. I'm not an aerodynamicist. Let us know in the comments if you've calculated that. Please let us know. Give us numbers.
Here we see on stream car number 63, Revolve, with her wonderful green car, Aquila, rolling down the pits. I mean, down towards the track.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. The cars aren't really judged on the beauty, on the looks, but it's also nice to look at those cars.
It's really nice to give a nice impression.
Yes.
That's where I think AMZ really has a wonderfully aggressive looking car as well. When you see it on track, you have high expectations based on the design.
Yes. And we also see another sleek design being pushed in front of our stage. Team Munich is slowly making their way towards the autocross area, although they are still preparing to be some preparations to be made. So we won't be seeing them quite soon, but I think they are on the way, and they will set a couple of runs, well, 2 runs, hopefully, on the DV Autocross. You mentioned just the weather room.
Yes.
The weather is quite nice today, I think, for driverless. Driverless is also influenced by the weather in terms of the sensor inputs. Most of the cars are using some LiDAR of sorts. Some teams are also using cameras, and especially cameras used to be a bit more susceptible for different influences by the weather. For example, if it rains, everything looks a bit different. This track starts to mirror the cones maybe in the puddles. The colors shift a bit. Also, if the sun is shining, if the sun is coming from behind or shining into the cameras, it has some influence. But today, it's very stable. The conditions are mostly cloudy, so no direct sunlight, which is easy, and also the brightness, colors, everything stays roughly the same. Although I have to say that the first car, as far as I am aware, that is using cameras is still pushing to the track from Revolve. Both KA-RaceIng and AMZ are relying just on their LiDAR to detect the track. So they are also not using the cone colors, which indicate on which side of the track the cones are located. You have always the yellow cones on the right and the blue cones on the left. So if you have a camera, you can use that to your advantage to localize the car easier. But you can also do it with the LiDAR, where you just see there is a cone. You don't typically see the cone color in the LiDAR image. But many teams are currently just doing the LiDAR. I feel like it's an internal wave between more cameras and more LiDARs. I've seen teams moving in both directions, from LiDAR only to camera only and back, or some combination. We've seen everything so far.
There was earlier a question about which is worse, hitting a few cones or going off track, and it depends on your definition of a few cones. But just by the rules, you'd have to hit at least 5 cones to be as bad as off track. So if you go really fast and you take 4 cones, that'd be better than going off track.
On the other hand, if you come to if you go off track when stopping after the run, this might be defined then as an unsafe stop. And an unsafe stop is not good. I think an unsafe stop would lead to the run not being counted at all. So going on track in the lap is definitely much better than going off the track after the lap when you need to stop.
Otherwise, we're also looking at very cool temperatures all day with I think a peak of 21 degrees.
Yeah, from a performance perspective, we might want warmer weather as a team, right?
Yeah.
At least for anything else in endurance.
We will see if the teams could struggle with getting their tires up to temperature. That could be an issue today.
All right, we are here at the entry engineering stand with Isabel. Isabel, similar questions as we had just now with Skoda. Why are you here as a company?
Hello, everybody. So yes, Entry Engineering is here actually sponsoring a team from Prague, E-Force, and we're happy actually to be able to support young talents and really like this kind of project, which is very, very actually familiar to us as a company with, who is supporting motorsport, also Skoda Motorsport and everything, so it's very, very close to us, so we really like it here, and especially for the young people.
All right, so you're here for the young talent as well.
Exactly.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you brought here to the event site?
We brought our car, a Sigma car, which we actually supported from the beginning. So it's an interesting little toy for some racetracks, and yes, that's why I think it's also interesting for the people to see it. Even with the new world, well, you have electric cars, we also made a normal engine, so that's why we have it here. So to get a little bit of the motorsport feeling in the racetrack.
All right, motorsport feeling is a good topic. Have you had a look around the pits and maybe have you seen anything interesting that you might want to implement?
To be honest, I just had a quick look. Because we came today. We couldn't make it before. So yeah, I really always enjoy actually the racetrack. It's since I was a small kid, I always had how to say. I come from a family who races, so it's very, very familiar to me, and it's always nice to see it especially when the young people can do or play, let's say, on top with things that usually don't get in touch. So I really enjoy it here always.
So I really hope then that that you're enjoying the Formula student vibe. If you haven't been here before, I can recommend go into the pits, check out what the teams are bringing to the site here. Even if they don't manage to make it out on track, it's still worthwhile checking out just from a technology perspective. That's one tip. I have another tip that's not specific to you. The wind has picked up here on site. So tie down your stuff. We've seen some easy up tents going a bit more up than they maybe should have. So yeah, thank you for talking a bit about what you came here to see. And
you
with
very
that,
much.
back to the main stage.
And now we see Munich coming slowly towards the track, and also the car E16 PWR Racing, the only team that I think we haven't mentioned before, one of the teams that was already able to run DV yesterday. We've seen them also. They are also pushing towards the dynamic area of the Autocross. So we have then, I think we will have all of our teams located where the action is. And there are a couple of teams which might still make it, which only have the EBS test left to do. So if they opt to do it and they manage to do it successfully, they can still use the remaining 1 hour and 17 minutes to set a driverless track drive lap, which would be a fast tube. They only need still the EBS test. The team from Tallinn in Estonia, Renteam Uni Stuttgart would also be able to do it. University Racing Eindhoven is at the same level. And FS Team Delft from the Netherlands as well. They also only have the EBS test missing from the scrutiny ring point of view. And after that, they would be able to go towards the track and set a lap time. And now it's actually filling up, right?
Yes.
We have the frame full of cars. That's good. That's always good to see. Even though the cars are not moving that much for now, it's promising to have all of them there. So I'm sure we will have some more track action in a couple of minutes with the first runs of PWR. Which
We also
can
see
is right here some discussion between the team members.
While
And
we're waiting for the next team as well, there was another question in the chat about if the Autocross is similar this year to last year. If I remember correctly, last year had a little bit faster sweeping corners. Well, this year is quite a bit more lower speed, even more twisty than last year. Yet.
Although if we compare the times compared to last year, Karlsruhe's time last year was just shortly under 25 seconds. So there was, now we are this year at 22 seconds. So maybe they have become a bit faster, or the track is a bit shorter, a bit faster to navigate.
I like to believe that the cars are faster.
Yes.
We'll believe that.
I mean, of course, that's generally the tendency.
Yeah.
Cars do get faster because the teams put more engineering into them. They don't design the autonomous systems from scratch usually within the one season, because it's a highly complex system that just needs a bit of time. It doesn't need to be redeveloped each year. So you usually base the software stuff on what you've already got from last year, and try to identify the pain points that don't work as you intended, that are limiting your performance, and then you focus on them, improve them, and then next year you do the same thing, next iteration, get your new limitations, and improve every year. And definitely, if you compare the driverless over the about 10 years of the competition so far, there has been a steady increase in the performance. When just 5 years ago, even the top teams often struggled to get off the line on many times, or lost the track always. They have become a bit more reliable now, even if driverless is still very hard, as you can see in the relatively low number of people and cars that are able to compete here on track. But so far, we have a 100% finisher quote with a sample size of 2, granted, but it's still 100%. That is very, very good.
So no, the development is always iterative. There's always something you can improve from the previous year. I know from last year there was a few teams who've been willing to improve their perception. So Revolve, for example, have been looking at upgrading to the stereo cameras, and I'll have to disappoint and say after testing, the LiDAR has been proving pretty well so far. So they've opted to remain with the LiDAR for this year, but keeping stereo cameras as a future possibility, having built a pretty good baseline already this year.
And with the preparations of the teams going on there, we have some more voices from the paddock to listen to.
All right, I'm here in front of the Prusa booth that just popped out of the ground this morning with Jan. Jan, we've right across here have a lot of cars, a lot of automotive companies. This is the first time that I'm seeing a 3D printer company at a Formula Student competition. Why are you here?
Well, there are a few reasons, I would say. I think actually our machines are really heavily used in the business, in the automotive in general. We just like being here, being present, and whatever actually makes sense to our customers. We like to be there, to be close. There is other reason because we like to support our local teams that take part in the student formula. And they are super smart. We really like to cooperate with them. We like to invite them to work for us in the summer, actually, to work for us as developers. They are great. They mostly work for free, you know, and they are like super smart. So came to actually to support them a little bit, and of course, you know, to showcase our 3D printers, to have fun, maybe just a little bit, you know.
Okay, fun company. That's good to know. Do you want to show us a little bit what you brought?
Yeah, definitely. So we have our current lineup of the printers. Maybe on the side, actually, you can spot the Core 1 and Core 1L, the bigger one. This is something you might be really interested in. That's Prusa Index. This is the Founder Edition that we actually released with Bontech. And it's a tool changer. You can print from 8 different colors. It's a super new thing and fun to work with. Prusa XL, it's been around for a while, but it's our workhorse. There is so many things, you know, that you can make with these, combining different materials, not just different colors, but the probably like interesting parts that can combine ASA or polycarbonate and all these things together. And then our maybe fanciest one, more for professional use, if you really want to print the most advanced materials, the strongest, those actually that can take most temperature, like even peak and this kind of specialized materials, you would go for that one.
All right, it's great to see a lot of the printers already running in booths. I've seen a lot of Prusas there.
Cool.
I'm a fan myself, a little bit, got to be honest. So yeah, it's really nice to see a local company really supporting the local Formula Student community. How do you experience this paddock so far? Is it your first time here?
It is. Well, it's awesome. You know, it's just, you know, on our way here, there are so many people here, and it's just great. You know, maybe I've never actually experienced a Formula F1 atmosphere, but I guess it would be something like that. No, maybe some, I don't know, Brad Pitt would show around or something.
Yeah, we're still working on that one. We're trying to be as professional of a stream as we can, but we got to work with what we got here, of course. Thank you so much for joining us. Is there anything that you want to shout out, maybe to the Prusa guys in the main factory, or anybody at home?
Not really. Well, I'm just hoping actually we are giving a printer as a prize for the cost and manufacturing. That's a like super hard thing, super important for us as well. So we hope actually the winner would use the printer and have fun while building it as well.
All right, so then it's going to be important for the teams next year to put all the effort they can into the Czech version of the custom manufacturing. I hope to see you guys around next year again. Thank you so much. We'll head back to the main stage. Thank you very much. That went great.
Where we see some action, I just saw the car from Karlsruhe being pushed, hopefully towards the track. Let's see how the situation evolves. We also just heard some team shouting from the paddock. I assume someone finished another step of scrutineering. I don't think it was a driverless team that we would be able to see here on the Autocross today in the morning. But important for the afternoon session to get with the scrutineerings today, so that the teams can do the acceleration and skid pad with the driver in the afternoon session from 13:30 to 18. Important points to get.
Otherwise, just to repeat, we are currently at the DV Autocross. So we are seeing teams pushing their car out to the track and having to complete one lap as fast as they can, having never seen the track before. We have had 2 runs so far by E33 AMZ and KA-RaceIng. And they've been setting some really good times. So they can, of course, run the track again, having knowledge about the track. But we might be seeing car number E63 now roll out for their first attempt. The format could be pretty comparable to Formula 1 qualifying in the one-lap shootout, apart from the fact that Formula 1 drivers know the track really well. And this time we're running with no driver.
And also in Formula 1, the cars aren't as smart as Formula Student cars. They can go by themselves. Formula Student cars, at least those ones competing in the optional driverless cup here at FS Czech, they can find the track without us humans needed anymore. And as you saw already in the morning, they're not far off the human performance. They are quite impressive. Also, I have to say, over the last years, the control systems have become very, very good, even at catching an oversteering or understeering car. When back in the day, a few years ago, if you have an oversteer, usually the run was over. Now, many cars can catch a lot of oversteer and continue to drive. So the dynamic driving of driverless is also now looking really interesting and really fun, and you even hear some tire screeching sometimes, which was reserved to driving manually for a long time.
So now to repeat, we have the team from Trondheim, Norway, rolling out to the track. Also, without adding too much stress, being the last year's overall DV winner at this track, at this competition.
One detail that you can note on the left person pushing the car, he has this orange box hanging around his waist. This is the remote control for the car. And I say remote control, but it doesn't control much. It can start the car and it can stop the car. There's no way to steer or help the car in any way. The car needs to find the track and navigate it completely autonomously. But it gets the start signal from, he got the approval from the official. And also, after the run, he will disable the car with a big red button that you can see on the box. Or, as I mentioned a couple of times now, if the car does funny stuff, he will stop it there and let the emergency brake system do its thing, which is basically mostly almost locking all the wheels, depending on the car, but many of them actually have just lock all the wheels and come to a standstill. It would also be interesting, just as we had last year in the stream for the drivers, to have wristbands on the team members for driverless to see their heart rates. Because I can tell you from experience, if you are the one holding the remote control, and also if you're just standing next to the track, leaving the car and to do its own thing, it is quite nerve-wracking. Sometimes I think your heart rate goes to some unhealthy regions, because it's, I don't know, it's 1 year of work, hard work, many more hours, even more hours, and 1 more hour again, and no sleep at the event, working tirelessly throughout the whole event to push the car to the state that you can be here, just in time in case of Revolve. So they have been through a lot in the scrutineering so far, but they managed it. They are here. Very nice already, very good achievement. And so I bet they are extremely excited to see the car run. So are we. And I also see a nice crowd over there in the viewing area. All the guys are watching the driverless action, which is going on now with the Revolve car. You can see the yellow lights are on, so the car is ready to go once the operator presses the button. That is the starting signal of the car. Yellow lights are flashing. And it's about to start to run, hopefully. Yes, there we go. Also, very confident start. Nice line through the cones. Nice racing line here as well. Yes,
Slightly unstable.
Yes, there was some oversteer, but it caught it. It stayed on the track. I didn't see any cones flying. That's good. Very dynamic.
And the car has come to a stop.
And the solid blue lights are on. Well done. Nice job. Let's see the time.
The time is
17:20.
17:20.
Great job, Revolve. Congratulations to this time.
Now we'll see if any cones were taken, but if not, they are ahead by uncorrected by 0.07 seconds. The margins are really tight here.
Yes, which shows that the cars are improving, and they're improving towards some limit. Still, the margins are a bit larger in Autocross than in the disciplines that we saw yesterday for the driverless skid pad and acceleration. I mean, it is a bit hard to judge because unfortunately we didn't have so many teams to drive yesterday. But if we look at the acceleration in DV, if I look between the runs, there's rarely more than 1/10 of a second between the runs. And if I recall correctly, last year was even closer. So there's a lot of work being done by the teams over the past years, and the cars are really, really good. So now the team members are preparing their car to push off the track and I guess do some analysis to prepare the second run. They still have some time left to tweak a few parameters maybe to go even faster. There's always a consideration before you start how aggressive you set up your car before your first run, because it's just a strategy of managing your risk, right? First, you want to have some run, but you also want to be fast. But the faster you're trying to go, the higher the risk is also that something's going wrong, typically. So common strategy is to go a little bit more on the conservative side for the first run, and then once you know the track conditions on the day, the temperature, the tarmac, then you tune the performance to get the maximum out of the car. So this is what we will see for the Karlsruhe car now. Let's see how they compare to their first lap time, if they can do it a few seconds faster. And the Karlsruhe car is staged, and it is ready to go once everyone is in the safe distance from the car. And the car is going a bit cautiously in the start, but now it's picked up its pace. Collecting a few
And
cones,
the car is
and
off.
yeah, the car is off, unfortunately. This was not a good run for Karlsruhe. It's hard to say what happened there. The car somehow just lost the track and was slowly veering right to the left of the track until the operator pushed the kill switch. We can see at least 2 cones being collected on the car. Not that it matters, because the run unfortunately wasn't completed. But now this causes some track repair, which in some busy sections might even influence a lot how the competition is going, because if there's a long queue, each track repair takes valuable time. With just the 5 teams over there, I think this won't be that much of an issue here, so the officials can take the time to recollect the cones and rebuild the track. But very unfortunate for Karlsruhe that they couldn't improve on their first lap.
You see them removing the cones from under the car and retrieving it.
One side aspects of the driverless cars both being sometimes a bit having their own will and being fast at the same time is that, especially for the front wings, cone resistance has become some sort of requirement for the aerodynamic guys when developing the front wings, because most of the times the front wings would be the part of the car that touch the cones first, and if you hit a cone at a decent speed, 50, 60 kilometers per hour, maybe even slower, then it may hurt. And there have been a few broken wings on the way in the past years already. How does one become a commentator for FS Czech? Good question, especially since both of us here are completely newbies at this job. I hope you're still with us. We just, I don't know, for me, FS Czech asked if anyone wants to do some commenting, and I was like, let's try it out. And that's how I ended up here. It's quite simple.
Yeah, no, for me, I was here for earlier events, and at this point I had nothing better and not much more to do, so I applied to be a speaker, and I was approved so far.
And I can actually recommend the job. It's nice. You have a good overview of the dynamic action here, although specifically for the driverless autocross, it's a bit far away. So we are mostly relying actually on the camera stream here, since we can't see much from there. But the good thing, I don't know if you can actually hear the wind in the microphones. I think I heard something in the speakers here, because it's quite windy. But the good thing is the wind is coming directly from the autocross, so we can actually hear the beeping of the car directly. And as we speak, Munich is at the start line, ready to go for their first run. So best of luck, Munich, for the run. Fingers crossed. And let's see how it goes. Let's hope only the car needs to push and the team members don't have to push the car off the track until it has done the full lap. But for now, we're still waiting for the go.
And
There's the
car is
go.
off.
It's also going quite aggressively, collecting, I think, 2 cones on the left. And it came to a stop there.
Was the kill switch pushed?
That's a curious thing. I don't know if the kill switch was pushed because the car was driving well on the on the track.
The
I
car
didn't
went
see
off.
anything wrong.
It came back onto the track, fixed its positioning,
Yeah,
but then came to a complete stop.
but there might have been other reasons as well. It's not only the kill switch that can stop the car. The car has a full safety system to ensure that the high voltage system and the accumulator don't cause any harm to anyone or anything. So there are a lot of reasons why the car could have possibly come to a full stop. Even sometimes it has happened that cones have flown against the shut-on buttons, which are located on the outside of the car, and have turned off the car. That has happened. I haven't seen any cone flying in that direction on the main hoop. So I guess we'll have to find out later and try to talk to the team to find out what happened there. Hard to say from here.
Meanwhile, we have car E33 lining up for their second run.
Yeah, the first run was
17:27 with a few cones.
yes, just a bit slower than Revolve if you don't count the cones. But I think we saw at least 2 cones from here, which would add 4 seconds to the time. I'm sure they've tweaked some parameters to improve the performance on the track, and I'm very excited to see how it goes on the second run. Their second and final, just to put the pressure on a bit more. Again, you see the guy next to the car has the remote control. The driverless driver that they use to push the car around and to control it when it's being pushed is getting out of the car, and then the autonomous system will be activated and ready. And we have more action lined up. TU Eindhoven, they seem to have passed all the scrutineerings, including the EBS test. So they are going.
Congratulations to them.
Congratulations, they are going here to the track. They're excited as we are. That's good to see. With 50 minutes, you guys will have plenty of time to set your runs, I believe. And some combustion action happening on the test track right next to us.
It is really fun to listen to. Some of these combustion engines are really loud.
Yeah, and it always adds a bit of the motorsport experience and the feeling. There is, by the way, also one. There's some, very, very few, but there are some cars doing driverless with a combustion engine, which is quite a hard challenge because you need to replace the driver controlling everything. And replacing the driver in an electric car is quite simple because at the end the motors just execute commands which are sent to them via software. So it's relatively easy to generate these commands with more software. Relatively easy. I mean, the software generating them is very complex. Teams have been working on them for years. But on the motor side, it's relatively easy. If you have a combustion engine, you have the gearbox, you need to control the throttle, you need to start the engine and all that stuff. That's a bit more tricky. And also, you can't use the motor to brake. The electric vehicles, almost all of them also use the motors for electric braking, which is, again, very easy to control with the software. If you need to control the mechanical brakes, things get a lot more tricky, especially if you want to brake with good precision and not just come to a full stop. So I guess this is one of the reasons why there are not so many teams doing driverless with a combustion engine. But we have one here. Unfortunately, they did have some struggles in the scrutineering, and we won't see them on the track today. But it would be a fun sight. I've seen some teams in the past, and it's really fascinating to see the car driving on its own and having this combustion engine noise while it's doing that.
Now we had a question about Czech teams active here today. And we have a 6 different teams, so I'm not completely mistaken. Where three of them are participating in the Electric Vehicle Cup. We have UVB Pilsen, we have E-Force Prague, and TU Brno. And now we're seeing impressive high-speed action on track by the forklifts, moving what seems to be a tire barrier slightly incorrectly positioned.
Yeah, I guess that's a preparation for the manual disciplines later on and tomorrow, to ensure the safety for the drivers.
And then for the CV teams, by the way, from Czech Republic, we have Kuls Prague and FS Tool. So there's a very good presence of Czech teams here at Formula Student Czech today.
With the track filling up now, the staging time of the cars might actually become a bit more relevant now. So defined by the rules, the cars have, once they are at the start line, 1 minute to get ready for action, which is at this stage with the yellow lights being solid. And if the track is empty, then this 1 minute won't be enforced strictly because no one is lining up. And but now we might actually get into some situations in which there is maybe a bit of a queue, one team waiting, so the teams can puff around all day on the track. But so far, all of the cars seem to be well designed and very reliable, so they just came into their full operational mode within no time at all. And off we go. Bit wiggly at the start, and really wiggly at the after here. That is unfortunately also a DNF for the second run from E33 from Zurich as well. No improvement for them. That's too bad. To me, this looked mostly like a mix of the car losing its orientation and a bit of a control issue.
Now, meanwhile, we also see Revolve deciding not to go for a run number 2, and rather choosing to stay with a really strong, so far, first place time.
Yep. I mean, in theory, there's still 45 minutes in the session, but my interpretation is also that they will not attempt to do the second run, since usually you wouldn't have a reason to push all the way back to the paddock, except maybe you want to have some more specialized mechanical setup on the car. Maybe they're pushing for the last limits and also pushing for the last limits of the time, going back to the pit, setting up the car and coming back. This would be quite interesting if they can then even improve on their 17.20. But we'll see if we see them back on track, or if that is their statement about driverless autocross.
They were fun to watch. I'd love to see more of them, but we'll see.
Yes, on the other hand, there's also always the strategic call for the teams, how they distribute the time between EV and TV. Given that we have the EV disciplines also in the afternoon, so you need to balance up your priorities and use your time wisely. So who do we have left to run? We have the two runs from KA-RaceIng, 2 runs from AMZ. That means those teams are both out of the question. They were the first run to run in the morning. They both said their first attempt very nicely, and then both DNF'd, unfortunately, on their second attempts, which might have also been a calculated risk. As I said, oftentimes you go a bit on the safer side for the first run, and then push the car to the limits on the second run. Of course, you don't try to go too hard, but maybe you go to the more risky side just a bit more.
Also, another update. Car number E85 from Delft has also now completed all of their inspections and brake tests. So we might see them starting to roll out with the little time we have left.
Yes, they would be just in time now then if they make their way over directly from the EBS test. Although I don't see them yet. I don't see them so far. We have a comment here. Will there be no more DV skid pad or axles? No, DV skid pad and DV acceleration was done yesterday in the afternoon session. So for now we have the DV Autocross on. In the afternoon we will have the track drive for driverless, and starting with the manual disciplines in the afternoon as well, with manual acceleration and manual skid pad. Yes, I agree. It is a classic orange and black design. Not quite unique, as we see Munich is also black and orange, although the ratios are a bit different. But both of them, both the Eindhoven car and the Munich car, I think they look fantastic. We can see the push bar being readied on the E16 car from PWR. I guess that means we will have some more autocross runs, track drivers in the afternoon. Some more autocross runs coming up soon.
The wind has also been really picking up lately. Will this have an effect on the autocross times, do you think? If the wind continues like it is right now?
I'm not sure. It's hard to judge. My gut feeling is that it wouldn't have that much of an influence, because in driverless, your autonomous system, the software, which line the car takes, how confident it is, matters usually more for most teams than the physical limits of the car. But I mean, maybe the wind is what's confusing all the cars, and that's why we're seeing the DNFs. There is some correlation between the cars DNFing and the wind coming more. Yeah, definitely. There's E16 being moved out of its parking and preparation position towards the track. Careful not to hit any other car. Also nice looking, featuring a classical black and red and white livery here. just saw on the car from PWR Racing that I think they're also featuring the classical big round lidar on the main hoop, one of the classic positions for this type of sensor that we see here in Formula Student. I didn't see any cameras, so I guess they would also fall into the classic category of lidar only. My Spanish is a bit rusty, so I can only guess what you're saying. I think I agree. And we are getting used to this procedure right now already. The car is being readied for the start. Push bar is being removed. The push bar is always used to push the cars around on track in a safe and controlled manner. So always when you see some car being pushed on track, someone will be behind it with the push bar. There will be a driver in it to steer. And then there will also be someone walking in front of the car to make sure that no one gets hit, no one's in the way. And there was a question about the car with the tires. I think you might be referring to this forklift that we saw earlier with the fancy speed animation. I think that was building up some tire barriers for the manual disciplines later on. These tire barriers are used to act as a safe stopping object for any car that is gone rogue and off track, to protect either the car and the driver from hitting something very hard, like a concrete wall, for example, or it can also act as a barrier between some zone where officials or track marshals are located and the track. Just these track barriers are usually, or these tire barriers are usually there to ensure that everything is run safely.
No, the DV Autocross track is not similar to last year's. Last year was, I don't completely remember the layout, but I believe it was a little bit. It didn't have as sharp corners, if I'm not mistaken, and also the average times were quite a bit higher as well, which could be attributed to very, very much increased technology. But you never know. I mean, we do know. But the wind is really picking up now. I am trying desperately to keep my stuff in place.
Yeah, let's hope all the teams have secured their tents properly over in the campground, and we don't see any flying tents and.
I believe we had a few flying tents last year during one. I think it was a team welcome, where quite a few teams had to speed walk, not run. That's not allowed. Back to the pits to secure their tents, us included.
Yes, if you see someone walking quite funny and fast on the Formula Student event, that's because they are in a hurry. They need to go somewhere real quick, and they're not allowed to run. So you always need to keep one foot on the ground at all times. And that leads to sometimes always quite Olympic walking-looking ways of moving.
Also, I remember it made it really fun for some of us last year coming back from a long competition season. Suddenly starting to run around your own school, university. And it feels so weird after a month of never being allowed to run.
Yeah, Formula Student is definitely its own world sometimes. And gives you a lot of memories, gives you a lot of weird itches sometimes. But it's always a fun place to be around. And also the weather, be it wind, some thunderstorms, some heavy rain, some 35-degree endurance action. It's always part of the plan, it's always part of the experience. So far, in terms of the weather, this competition has been fairly relaxed. And we have another car on track. We're getting a bit distracted by the weather. The car is moving along quite nicely. It's a bit slower than the previous cars, I believe, but it looks very steady. Just keeping it on the track nicely. That looks very nice now on the right-hander. Bit of a wide turn, but I don't think there was any cone. Oh, and now it left the track. We see the blue flashing light, which means that the car has not completed its run And probably in this case, the operator has pressed his shutdown button to stop the car from going somewhere else.
That was very
Right.
unfortunate.
So I guess the car turned left out of the track, tried to cut the corner a bit, and the wheels are completely pointing straight ahead. So either that was done during the braking, or it was already trying to go just ahead and didn't know that it could turn left to go back on the track. Unfortunately, this is a DNF for the TU Wrocław.
We'll see if they choose to do a run number 2. The time is starting to run down quite a bit.
Yes, and we still have E40 from Eindhoven ready to go. At least they are near the Autocross track. They are preparing the car. And given that this would be their first run, they would have priority over the second runners. And we might even still see Delft coming along, since they passed the EBS test not too long ago. We haven't seen them pass here at the speaker stage, but they still have they have 30 minutes to make their way to the Autocross and try to set a run. Apart from that, I don't expect for more teams to come into the Autocross race today. We have a few more which only need to pass the EBS test, and I am sure that they will try, definitely for the track drive in the afternoon. But for now, time is running out a bit if you still need to do the EBS test and then head over to the Autocross. But of course, we would be happy to see any more cars being pushed towards the track for the famous last-minute action on any Formula student discipline. Usually it gets a bit busier towards the closing time than at the starting time, and is like this here as well. And Munich is staged for the second run. Let's see how it goes. The first run did not go as planned. The first one was a DNF at the end. Let's hope the best for the second run.
I'm curious as to what changes they've made.
The car is going off. It looks nice. Very steady, very confident through the corners, nice lines. I don't think they have dialed down the speed. It looks quite nice. Also took the corner really nicely and tight on the inside. Now, they almost did the classic thing and hit the timing equipment. And I think in this case they just collected the cones, the big orange cones. But this is not what you want to see. And I'm assuming the operator also pressed his remote shutdown button. So this was probably not a valid run.
We see a cone
Definitely,
stuck between
this was not a safe stop. So regardless of whether the button was pressed anyway, this was not a safe stop. So this would not be a valid run, unfortunately. But it looked so good so far. The time would be really interesting.
That was an unfortunate run, but a really confident car.
But we see, on the live timing, I see a 19.12 as the second attempt. So since the car crossed the barrier, it was counted at that. But I'm pretty sure that given the way it came to a full stop, unfortunately the run would be disqualified. And in the end, it doesn't count. But it looked really nice. much better than the first one, obviously. Coming just two seconds off the pace from Revolve, which was a 17.20. And it was really impressive. So definitely we can look forward to the track drive later on in the afternoon session. There's decent performance in that car. It just needs to finish a few laps.
We were also asked if we had a cone down or out overview. I have to apologize, we do not. We have the uncorrected times.
So the Eindhoven guys, they are already waiting for Munich to clear the track, it seems. So they are willing to do the first run. And they've been given green light to enter the track and stage the car for the first autocross run. That's amazing to see. We've seen a lot of DNFs lately. I think the last 4 runs were, even 5 runs, including Munich, were all DNF. Unfortunately, it's not uncommon for driverless disciplines to have this sort of development. But we were off to a really strong start with AMZ KA Revolve, and then once the cars were tuned a bit more to the maximum performance, they started to struggle a bit. So I hope that we see a full and valid lap from Eindhoven now. No, unfortunately, we don't have a cone DOO overview. This information is only there at the officials locally. We don't have it as the stream speakers here, and it's not available in the live timing yet, because this is always information that needs to be confirmed and counted a bit more manually than the timing itself. So it's hard to do it live.
So we apologize, Rislunchkongen.
Counting cones is left as an exercise to the reader, I would say, or to the commentators.
As the car is preparing, we can see on the rear wing, I'm not even going to try and pronounce it, but translated, look and listen, and which is exactly what we are going to do right now. Thank you, fastest man alive.
Oh, we see some blinking blue lights on the stream, although at least from our side the stream is a bit there seem to be some technical problems. Yeah, now it's back for us. I hope you had an undisturbed stream. Yeah, but we saw some blinking lights on the Eindhoven car, so unfortunately it did not start, and this won't be a valid run for them. But it will count as the first run, because I think the car left the completely autonomous system off mode. And at that point, when the car is activating the autonomous systems successfully, then the run counts. So unfortunately, this is another DNF for this session. But they will have a second attempt, and hopefully they can quickly find out what was the issue and start and finish the second attempt.
We had the forklift from earlier passing by at incredibly high speeds here. Dangerously
yes,
high.
this is the action we were looking for.
I see they've incorporated rear wheel steering as well into the forklift.
Yes, right. That's an innovative concept. I don't know if it's allowed by the rules. Definitely not by FS rules. And the Eindhoven car is still at the starting line, so maybe they want to opt to start their second run immediately. Let's see.
I know there was a question asked about the scrutineering status for each team. I know at least team members have access to an overview of the technical inspection status for every team, in which you can see how they've done on accumulator, mechanical, electrical, driverless, rain, brake, and EBS.
It's also available without login on the FS Check website. So if you're interested, you can see it. It's called the TIS, Technical Inspection Status. And there for each team, you will see the different types of scrutineering that the teams need to go through and the current status. And as we speak, the car is ready to go again. Hopefully, it will move this time and do a proper autocross lap. The yellow light is blinking, so now the car should be moving and is moving.
Car is moving.
And we're off. We took the first right-hander, left-hander, now to the right again. A bit tighter with this one, but navigating through it very decently. It looks good, looks stable. Now this is a tighter section of the track. Oh, and this unfortunately also means that the run is not finished. That is very unfortunate. Heading directly to the official and the operator. But good reaction time, I would say, judging from the stream. It was quite fast to press the button.
The car came to a stop, not barely over the line. That was good.
It's always such a pity to see after you're running so well, and then suddenly something happens, and the car goes off track. So what does this leave us with? So Eindhoven, at least if they count the first run as a valid run, sometimes there are slightly different interpretations across different officials and different competitions. But from my understanding, since it was ready to drive and ready to go on the autonomous mode, the first run would have also counted. So if my interpretation is correct, then Eindhoven has done 2 runs. Munich definitely has 2 runs. AMZ as well. The first one was finished. The second one, unfortunately, DNF. Same for KA-RaceIng. From Revolve, we had the 1 run, which is still standing at the best time. You can see the purple time, 17.20 seconds. A bit ahead of the first run of AMZ, although AMZ did collect at least 2 cones, which would be added later to the time. And Trondheim is not there on the track anymore. They pushed off. So since they've not come back yet, I would assume they're not trying to set an even better lap time, but they're probably focusing on preparing the manual disciplines later on, and the track drive, the driverless track drive, all happening in the afternoon session. And if I'm counting correctly, this leaves us with just one attempt left for the PWR Racing Team. I believe they are still there on track, probably preparing the car, trying to find out what happened on the first run, since this was also a DNF. And giving it everything for the second run. And in theory, we could, as I mentioned before, we could still see Delft coming along here. We haven't seen them yet, but they have passed scrutineering. They could still make their way to the track and do a late run.
They're looking. They'll be really tight on time, but they could make it possibly. Otherwise,
yes. If they pull out their fast walking moves and the fast car pushing moves, since it's quite a long way from the entry to the dynamic area all the way to the farthest point where the driverless autocross is happening. But I think it would still be doable if they're on the way now. And yes, a lot of viewers are there. We see a crowd in the distance. And especially for driverless events, I feel like it's always a very nice mood with all the audience up there. And they're cheering on every team for every successful lap, even for laps that really look good and then for some reason end a bit early. Usually there's a really good mood around driverless disciplines, because it's just fascinating to see the cars driving on their own. And whatever the cars do, even if they just start, this is an incredible achievement for the students, because they build this car. The car itself is quite a complex engineering challenge with all the mechanical and electrical parts. And if you add more sensors, more actuators, and a whole bunch of software on top of that, it's a lot to manage. And within not even a year of the full Formula student seasonal cycle. By the way, since we mentioned the technical inspection status on the website, you can also see the live timing on the website. It is available as well. Of course, as we mentioned, we won't be able to show the cone count there, so if a car knocks down a few cones or the car goes off track, you won't be able to see it there, unfortunately. You will only see that later in the official scoring publishings. But you can see the attempts and you can see the times. Where now, from yesterday, we have a couple of times filled in for the acceleration DV, for the skid pad driverless, and now we are filling the times for the autocross driverless with a bit over 40 minutes left to go.
I also saw the question when Estonia is coming. I cannot see from the technical inspection overview that they have passed EBS. They haven't even started that one yet. And I haven't seen anything in the background, so I don't think they will be participating today.
I think it is worth noting that FS Czech is a bit earlier in the season than I think it was in the past years, and especially for driverless, this influences the readiness of the car quite massively, given all the complexity and the difficulties that it brings with it to get the cars running. It's always a challenge, and the more the season progresses, the more cars will be ready for driverless action. But so far, there can be a lot of issues preventing them from finishing EBS test.
Yeah, last year, a lot of teams went first to FS Austria. Then they had about a week break before FS Czech, and then a little over a week again until Formula Student Germany. This year, Formula Student Czech and Formula Student Austria have swapped places, and there are really no testing and resting days in between. So this makes this competition pretty much the only testing teams get before FS Austria.
I've also talked to a couple of teams and asked about how testing went at home for them.
Yeah.
And a lot of them answered the car is driven last week for the first time properly, or we still had car parts from the last car on for the past month and just switched to the new ones here for the competition. Typical behavior for the first competitions. This is why we see some teams struggling with the scrutineering. It's the first scrutineering for many of them. Some already went to FS Switzerland. They seem to have a bit of an edge on scrutineering. For example, the AMZ team and Karlsruhe, I think they both went to Switzerland already. So they've gone through one complete cycle of scrutineering yet, and this is their second competition for the season. It gives them a slight advantage regarding the scrutineering. And all the other event teams, even if they're not on track here, they are definitely very busy in the pits. I can tell you the team members are working non-stop. As long as the paddock is open and they are allowed to work on the car, they will be working on all parts that need some work, some fixing, some improvements. Although there was also some time for fun and games yesterday. There was the Flunkyball tournament. Do you know who won that actually?
Ooh, no, I didn't. I sadly didn't participate in the Flunkyball tournament this year. But I can tell you, I heard them from a great distance. They had great energy, and I'm looking forward to seeing the winner, who will be announced on Thursday. They will be announced in one of the award ceremonies.
Because it's a very serious thing that definitely deserves its own award of full glory.
Absolutely.
Definitely. I also heard them from the campground. As a bit of background information, currently we as the speakers don't have a great view of the stream ourselves, and so if we miss some on-track action, we're sorry for that. But I hope you all see it live on the stream. But
you have a slightly better view to the one big screen facing away from us, but I believe we still have one team left that could go for their second run.
Yeah, there seems still to be some action also for the Eindhoven team, for E40.
Really?
Where my judgment was that they had both of their runs. But as I already said, there might be different interpretations of that.
Absolutely. I see in the timing sheet, in the live timing, it looks like Eindhoven was only given one attempt here. This is just from the timing equipment. The officials themselves decide how the scoring is done and what counts as an attempt.
Yes, absolutely. But if we get lucky, if Eindhoven is granted another run, and if PWR manages to fix whatever problem they were having for the first run, we might see still some more action on the track for the last almost 10 minutes that we have. So there's not much time left in the session, and we can already have a quick look at the afternoon schedule, which will resume with a dynamic action at 13:30.
They will be running the manual skid pad and acceleration in parallel. So there'll be a lot more on-track action with quite a bit more cars driving.
Yeah, and for the first time for this competition, we will also get the drivers in the car. Well, we will also have the driverless track drive, if I'm not mistaken. So in addition to that, the driverless disciplines still continue.
The wind is really picking up here at Moss today, I have to admit.
And
we
I think
see certain items flying around.
I think the wind is coming directly, blowing quite directly along the acceleration straight. So from my judging here on the straight, it won't be any side wind, but from what it looks like here, the teams will be going straight ahead the wind. So they will have that extra downforce at the start, but also the additional
Drag.
Additional drag, yes. Because the wind is actually quite significant here now. And I also just had a quick look at the weather forecast. It is supposed to stay pretty much like this for the rest of the day. So we won't get much sunlight heating up the track, which is always, especially for things like, for all the disciplines essentially. It is a thing how warm the track is. It influences the performance of your tires. But for now, I think we're left with a relatively cold track. So let's see how that influences the timings for skid pad and acceleration in the afternoon.
Currently, we see some discussions ongoing. It looks like they're lining up to take their second and final run.
Yeah, this is looking to be like another heartbreak final. I mean, not heartbreak, heartbeat final. Let's hope for the best, because we still have a bit of time left in the session.
We have about
4 minutes.
3 minute 40. Counting down quickly.
So time is counting for the team, and when the session ends, we will hear a loud signal. Given where we stand with the microphones, you might also hear it directly in the stream from our microphones, and the car needs to be given the green flag until then.
This will be the final DV event before the track drive. There will be no other DV event. So for all the teams that were not able to compete at the FS Check, driverless, skid pad, and acceleration, and track and autocross, will not be having any more runs or any runs in the future. At this event.
I see the car moving. So the car is moving for the second run. It's looking good so far. It's in the middle of the track, following all the corners quite nicely. slow and steady pace. I mean,
It's taking a
I
nice
stay a bit slow and steady because we've been blessed with a couple of really good lap times now. Just 2 years ago, this would have been already, I would have said, quite fast. Oh no!
And the car comes to a stop.
Again, the car has stopped on track. So unfortunately, also this run was not
We have seen
not
this.
finished for them.
This is the
It's the same spot,
corner,
isn't it?
the same spot. They went out last time.
Yeah, maybe it's an issue with their path planning. Maybe the path planning wants to cut the corner a bit. Sometimes these
It looks
weird
like
behaviors happen.
it looks like a larger gap in those. Maybe the cone gap is slightly larger, and the car thinks the track continues to turn.
Yes, it might be that that this is the case. But this is very unfortunate for the car. So this is for sure the last run that we have in the session. We have 1 minute and 17 seconds left, but all the cars that we see there.
We see Eindhoven lining up to
Okay, then
really go for a last second run.
Then I stand corrected. Eindhoven is giving another run, and they have about 55 seconds to start the car. And then we have really final run. Let's root for them so that we can see a nice closing to the stream with a successful autocross. I would really love to see that. Now we're really getting close on the time.
We're down to single digits.
And I think he's activating the system now. So the counter is at 0, but it seems like
No
they
signal
are
has been given.
They are continuing the run just in time. So that was the signal to end the session, but I think because the car was already ready to
on?
go, it will be allowed to run. Yes,
We
it is
see
moving.
it driving. It is taking a nice, slow, steady pace. Quite conservative. And it has come to a stop. The car ran over a cone. And they
Yeah, I think it.
hit the emergency stop.
I don't know. It looks like the car has moved a bit off track, or started to move a bit off track to the right, and it has run over the cone, and then either it stopped itself or it was stopped by the operator. So my wish wasn't heard.
And that will be the last DV car we see attempting the autocross today.
So with this run, which was unfortunately also it did not finish in the end, we stand at valid runs. So if I'm not mistaken, from one run from Revolve, one from AMZ, one from KA-RaCing,
So
and I think that's about it. And TUfast. I think I forgot.
yes.
TUfast.
So currently, uncorrected, we have Revolve with a 17.2, AMZ with a 17.27. Then we have TUfast with a 19.12. And then KA-RaceIng with 22.7.
So yeah, this was the Autocross session from the Driverless competition here at FS Czech 2026. Thank you so much for staying with us, and we'll see you soon for the afternoon session. Again, manual skid pad, manual acceleration, and the track drive as well for Driverless. Stay tuned.